Welcome one, welcome all, one last time in Season 5 for the Almeida Racing League. We are at Winton Motor Raceway for the last round of the season, and it's sure to bring some incredibly exciting racing in these Spec Racer Fords at a track that is quite difficult to pass on, let alone even get around with how cramped and short it is. Under 3 kilometers long, and Winton Motor Raceway packs an awful lot of racetrack into that square mileage. Bringing it to you live here on Pit Road Productions and on Swellio Almeida's channel as well. It's myself, Reese Gardner, with Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the commentary box and also producing behind the scenes. Zippy, I think you know how I feel about Winton. It's one of my Princess-approved tracks, primarily because it's in Australia. It is one of the more polarizing tracks on iRacing, though. Most of the people I've encountered from other countries absolutely despise this track, and I can't imagine why.
Well, I got to admit, I don't know if I'd go as far as despising it, but it's definitely one that I've never had any luck at. I need to find my way around a little bit more. But one thing these drivers are going to have to keep in mind is just how hot it's going to be in the beautiful country that is Australia. Winton Motor Raceway definitely carrying a little bit of heat to it, and definitely going to have to see how the tyres go. But we have been here before with the Almeida Racing League, and I'm certainly looking forward to see how these drivers do this time round.
Yeah, absolutely. The last time we were here was the club layout, I believe, when we were racing the M2s. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Spec Racer Fords tackle this place. The final of many rounds that we have had this season. Let's have a quick flick over to the schedule to see exactly where we've been and, well, where we are today, Zippy.
Well, indeed, we started over at Montreal before heading to Scuba, Sebring for round 3 with the endurance round of Watkins Glen for round 4. Autodromus Carlos Pace was round 5 with Chicago, the street circuit, ladies and gentlemen, for round 6. 7 took us up to a personal favourite of mine. It's VIR with round 8 being Imola. That was an absolute belter of a round, with round 9 being Road America, Jerez last week, and indeed Winton Motor Raceway for that last round we just had. But Reese, it's not going to be the endurance format today. Let's take a look at exactly what these drivers have indeed got in store.
Yes, so we are back to the sprint format for this one, and it's going to be, well, 15 minutes of open qualifying running right now, and then we have two 15-minute heats to contend with. The second of which is going to have a random invert, and for this final round of the season it will be the top 6 from race 1 that get inverted for the start of race 2. Then we have a 5-minute warm-up, and then we have a 20-minute feature with the grid set by the results of heat 2. No fast repair, of course, so if you get too much damage, you will unfortunately be spending a long time in the pits, and it is fixed setup. The only thing you can really change is the brake bias, so the drivers are going to be having a lot to work out here today.
Indeed they are. And speaking of which, let's take a quick look here at the championship points. Don't get me wrong, we have 2 different splits going for the Almeida Racing League. Indeed, and not only that, we have the Premier and the Club class. But don't get me wrong, the points are all outright, ladies and gentlemen. Reese, tell us what kind of battles we got going on for the final round here of the Almeida Racing League.
Well, Ian Joyner, I think, is flexing hard. He hasn't shown up for the last few rounds, and he has such a championship lead that he's unlikely to lose it here in the final round. He's actually not here today either, so I think we're going to have an absentee champion on our hands here. Valdes Vansevicius, we've seen him in previous seasons in Split 1, sits 3rd overall, which is quite impressive. Only 8 points ahead of Martin Visser, the second driver from Split 1, and Visser certainly has a lot of potential to elevate himself to the overall championship top 3 if his recent form is anything to go by. Zdenek Hamak in 7th place. He wants to try and get some consistent drives going on in the later part of the season. Edwin Rivera sits in 10th, and of course his real life work has taken him away from his racing for the second half of this championship. Still, his form was so incredible in the first half of the season that he still sits in 10th place coming into the final round despite missing multiple rounds. Adam Meeker and Kevin Adrian, they're not separated by much either. Only 21 points between them. A good race or a bad race for either of those drivers could certainly make all the difference.
Oh, absolutely. And having a quick look here right now, I can see Kevin Adrian is present, but Adam Mika is not. So this could be a good chance. Not only that, we've got the Premier and the Club class going right now. And I've got to say, having a look at how qualifying's going at the minute, it's quite the mix. We've actually got 2 Premier, and then 2 Club places, rounding out your top 4, ladies and gentlemen. And indeed, Kevin Adrian making it all the way to top 6. Dominic Sayu currently being in the top 10 as well. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic mix here. We've got 16 cars present, but I am noticing we've got none of the Almeida Racing Academy coaches here today, so certainly I did offer to jump in and try and represent them, but it was fair to say that I didn't quite have the pace or the talent involved to bring it up to the table.
You were rebuked. Yes, indeed. And I'm sure I would be as well, even though I do think that I'm a pretty deft hand in a Spec Racer Ford, especially on the current version of the car. So we'll find ourselves to Kevin Adrian here, who's had some incredible form in the club class, on board for a lap around Winton. The opening corners here, it's basically a chicane slash S-bend. You've got to be very careful of the curve there on the exit. It will send you flying if you hit it wrong. It's that dangerous. Double right-hander through turns 3 and 4. Very wide curbs in this section, which you can use all of, and some of the grass as well if you play your cards right. Then the long sweeper. Double apex here. You've got to really be careful to control the power and the brakes sometimes through here, because you need all the front grip you can get ready for this triple hairpin section that local drivers call the cleavage. I'll let you figure out why that is. But these hairpins, they are so incredibly hard to get right. It is all about rhythm through this section. You're all setting it up for the exit onto this straight right here. A bad exit here can be the end of a great lap, essentially. Another hard braking zone, and one that's very hard to pass at for this left-hander here, the final left-hander of the layout. And then we're back onto the national layout extension that was created in the late 1990s. Basically everything from turn 1 to that last left-hander was the original layout of the circuit, which is now the club circuit today. It used to be an incredibly tight track, and it hosted national level touring car races at that time too. Back onto the start finish straight after the last double right, where you can carry a lot of speed, and that is a lap around Winton Motor Raceway. You only really have one opportunity to rest around here, Zippy, and that's the main straight.
Yeah, definitely it's one of those tracks where you've got to be on it the entire time. But saying that, let's take a quick look. I was mentioning very briefly about the weather earlier. Let's just see how hot is it. And oh my lord, that's toasty. 44 degrees.
It is.
44, 42. I've not got my glasses on. 42 degrees Celsius, ladies and gentlemen, track time. Those tires are going to be absolutely boiling with today's race.
Yeah, but they've got typical rural Victoria mist around the circuit as well. Some very high relative humidity there, 95%. That's some of the highest I've ever seen in iRacing. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects the performance of the cars. Regardless, the track temperature is the most important factor, because that'll define how the tires feel. I think that the drivers are going to be having a lot of trouble keeping those tire temperatures under control, especially with how tight and twisty this layout is.
Very much so, but I do want to give a little bit of a shout out to the driver of the number 7 car. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen that name here before, and indeed I'm wondering where he's been the entire season. Ladies and gentlemen, Jeremy Childers, welcome back. Currently running there in P6 in qualifying, and indeed P5 in the Premier class. Got to say, shout out to Jan Janchik. He's currently in P5 overall and leading the qualification there. As I see that, Childers has gone and pushed him down a spot, but certainly we got Jan Janchik leading the club class. Absolutely fantastic qualifying. Got the competition of James Conrad beat by about 0.4 of a second.
Yeah, good performances from Childers and Janchik. Fantastic stuff for the final round of the season. Barrett Brummett, who made his debut last round, is also here today and currently sits in third with 5 minutes to go. But Zdenek Hamak and Martin Visser, who have been two of the most numerous attendees at the front of the field, are currently 1 and 2 of the 16 cars that are currently in the session. We have Neil England making his return. Javier Sabrino once again here, as he has been for just about every round this season. And Also good to see Carlos Facania and Zoltan Zomator here as well, two very good competitors there as well. But yeah, I'll be interested to see how Jeremy Childers does after some time out of the Almeida Racing League seat, as Zoltan Zomator makes his improvement from the back of the field to P11. It's looking like quite a tight field spread at the moment. The top two, as Hamak makes an improvement. Okay, interesting stuff. It's such a difficult sequence here at Winton, isn't it? You've got to be very careful of those curbs. But the top two only separated by 0.5 of a second. And yeah, I mean, the gaps obviously get a bit larger as you go further back. But worth pointing out that Domenico Sayu and Kevin Adrian had the same lap time down to the 1,000th of a second.
That's absolutely incredible competition. Indeed, they are fighting it out in the club class, ladies and gentlemen, for P3 and P4. I guess at that point, it's hard to say who would actually get given the lap there. I believe the one who did it first would potentially get that. But Dominic Sayu very much on form today. And I gotta say, those curbs are making me just a little bit edgy every time they go over it. But this is what's really interesting right now. Usually with the Spec Racer Ford, you want to try and get a bit of a draft. And that's exactly what Martin Visser is doing behind the number 11 car, Zadek Hamak. But right now, Zadek has indeed gone purple in Sector 1. Yet again, he did it on the last sector as well. And despite having that draft, Martin Visser has not been able to topple him off that top step. He has been putting in some fantastic laps. He's P2 in the session overall. But Zadek is absolutely clobbering the guy. He's managing to hold on to that top step as he's about to go even faster again. Backs out of it.
Okay. So Visser goes through and will make an improvement. 128.7. And he'll claim pole position. I get the feeling these two guys might be helping each other out a little bit at the front of the field.
Not anymore.
Oh, no. All right, fair enough. Hamaka's going to take point and lead the way again. So let's see if he can join Martin Visser in the 128.7s. That will be very interesting to see. Thus far, they are the only two drivers in the 128s. Everyone else is 29.0 or higher. So let's wait and see. In fact, a whole second, actually, no, scratch that. 0.9 of a second, or just near enough, covers positions 3 through to 13. That is a very tight spread indeed, as Hamak goes for a little spin out of the hairpin, and looks like he won't have any more opportunities to claim pole from Martin Visser there.
Yeah, definitely not. But I do have a person asking us in Swallow's chat exactly how do you be part of this league. Reese, could you do the honors and explain, please? I'm about to sneeze.
Yes, indeed. So all of the drivers in this session are students of the Almeida Racing Academy. If you sign up to the Almeida Racing Academy, I believe their Black Friday promo may still be on. Correct me if I'm wrong, Zippy. You will get access to some fantastic coaching materials and also a entry into this league, so you can actually apply what you have learned from the academy texts and such. And not the case for this round, but at most rounds you will have a chance to race against some of the coaches that actually teach you and go through how to improve your racing techniques with you. So if you want to be a part of this league, get onto the Almeida Racing Academy.
Absolutely, and indeed a good job there explaining just how to be involved. If you want to go faster, ladies and gentlemen, yes, buying equipment does help, but realistically, you need to have the skills to be able to put it to the most use. So if you want to go faster, check out the Almeida Racing Academy. We do indeed. We promote it pretty much every show we can, ladies and gentlemen, for good reasons. Rich Meese is there getting a little bit flirtatious with the limit, but I say that Jeremy Childers has just managed to go purple in Sector 1. He's currently there in P5. He's been away for a little while. Are we going to see a little bit of a wolf in sheep's clothing here? Will Childers move his way to the top of the standings? And if you are wondering, ladies and gentlemen, he's rated 2200 IR and pushing to lead this split. Damn it, that is out of time. Oh.
Yep. Qualifying done. This being a multi-race server, there is a hard cut to the end of qualifying. As soon as the clock hits 0, doesn't matter if you're still on a lap or not, you're done. So we'll have to wait and see what Jeremy Childers can do in the race, as this is the grid for race 1. Martin Visser on pole, with Zdenek Hamak joining him on the first row. Barrett Brummett and Rich Meesters are on row number 2. Good qualifying performance from Meesters there. Childers P5 ahead of Yan Cheek, who takes pole position in the club class. James Conrad, who has spent some time out of the seat himself, starts 7th alongside Zoltan Zomotor. Then it's Philip Falcon and Domenico Sayu in the club class that round out our overall top 10.
As you have a look there, Kevin Adrian will take P11 with Steve Saunders, the gentleman himself, alongside in P12. Javier Sabrino, our Spanish driver, ladies and gentlemen, he's in there in 13th alongside Mark Schmurder in 14th. Neil England takes 15th with Carlos Bacania, closing out your 16-car grid today. Ladies and gentlemen, definitely a little bit more quiet here at the end of the season, but don't get me wrong, there is more to come. We can't tell you what it is, but we're going to tell you, stay tuned in to Pit Road Productions and indeed, Bolio Almeida's channel.
Yes, indeed. In the coming days, you will likely see some form of announcement from the Academy as to what the next season of the league entails. So keep your eyes peeled on the socials for that. Let's get things going then. I hear the drivers revving those engines there to try and get the engine temperature up, get the oil temperature up, because a hot engine provides more instant response at the start of a race. It's a common thing that you see in iRacing, people just redlining their engines on the grid. Of course, there's a chance that you will damage the engine by doing that, but sometimes the performance benefit is worth it. We shall see then as we find our way through to the third last corner behind the pace car, the beginning of the final round of the Almeida Racing League for Season 5, which, Zippy, has been a bumper season here in the Spec Racer Forwards.
Oh, absolutely, Reese. And fair to say, we have been very lucky to have such quality racing here, such quality battles, and indeed an absolutely fantastic academy here of students that we've seen. We've seen students get faster. You know, Zoltan Zomotor, he's got faster. Rich Meesters has got faster. As indeed, we are going to be getting ready to get this race underway as a pace car that's indeed pull in.
Yes, so when does Visser decide to pull away here? Hamak's trying to shadow him as best he can here, and it was a very big check up there from Visser, but he's translated it into a fantastic start, and we are away. Green flag flies for race 1 of 3 here at Winton. And they are single file in the top 6 into turn 1. Make that the top 7 as Yan Cheek gets past Zoltan Zomotor and holds him back. They all avoid the death curb on the exit of turn 2 very nicely. But Visser is under a lot of pressure from Zdenek Hamak for the front of the field here. It's actually quite an even start from everybody. You know, usually we see 1 or 2 drivers get away at the start, but that doesn't seem to be the case here.
Yeah, very much so. It's only been a couple of moves for position. It looks like Jeremy Childers got one up on Rich Meesters, and James Conrad did the same to Yan Cheek. Saying that, these two guys are indeed battling right now as Yan Cheek returns there to P6 and the lead of the club class.
Lovely stuff from Yan Cheek, and he'll find a nice line through the right-hander, maybe a little bit wide on the exit though. Fortunately, Conrad doesn't have much of a response. It's incredibly difficult to nail the power out of there. You want to get on the power as quickly as you can for the best run down the straight, but you also don't want to understeer off, as that's Conrad that's had some issues. He gets into the grass, fortunately. Winton has plenty of runoff area in that section of the track anyway. For a moment, I thought a car was going into the pits, but that's just the line that they take through the final turn. Very interesting pit entry here, Winton. You see the chicane there in the background on the way in. Rich Meesters then sees a great battle ahead of him as Jeremy Childers has moved past Barrett Brummett and into the top 3. We saw him hinting at this pace at the end of qualifying, Zip.
Yeah, very much so. Childers is definitely on form today. But one thing I have started to notice, Reese, is we are starting to already see, for a little bit of a second there, we start to see 2 packs emerge in the top 5, starting to make a little bit of a breakaway. But certainly Yan Cheek has indeed managed to stay with that pack. Don't get me wrong, if they lose them, they will have a very, very hard time catching up. As you see a little bit further back
Hamak's
there.
Off. Oh, Zdenek Hamak, sorry. He caught the outside the right side of the circuit and got into the dirt a little bit. So he's lost touch with Martin Visser now, under a lot of pressure from Jeremy Childers.
Yeah, certainly Childers looking to try and keep making his way up there as he's already thinking about putting in a nose. I'm starting to remember this actually now from the M2, and it was, you can see they got a little bit of over rotation, I think, in that corner we just gone through. It was definitely a little bit challenging there, certainly myself, and indeed the M2. It's a little bit of a love-hate relationship. It can be an absolute pain to try and control, but very satisfying when you get it right. But myself, the Spec Racer Ford, one of my all-time favorite cars in the iRacing sim, and I'm glad to see that the Academy has taken to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, fantastic choice of car, and really enjoyed what we've seen this season thus far. Visser, I'm not really sure what the point of that is. He's far enough ahead that no one is going to get any form of slipstream off him, and I don't even think the straights are long enough to really get much of a slipstream, but these guys are certainly dealing with some slipstream issues. Rich Meest is under pressure from Yan Cheek, who continues to lead the club class, and has Zumator in between himself and Philip Falcon. Not much pressure from behind for Yanchik. It's all eyes forward as he follows Meesters around.
Yeah, not only that, he's actually just set the fastest lap of the race. That's got to be the first time I've seen him do that. He's definitely not had the smoothest journey through the sim, and right now, if it keeps going like this, it's going to be an absolute belter of a final round for him as he's there applying pressure, and I'm not taking the blame for that. The commentator's curse appears to be very much in favor there, as indeed he drops back all the way down to P8, but still, thankfully, as he goes side by side with Philip Falcon, able to hold on to the club class lead, albeit it's not over yet. Philip Falcon there on the inside.
Yep, gets through, and Yanchik will still have the inside for the next corner though. So let's see how hard they push this here. Yanchik a little later on the brakes. He is first to the apex, and he manages to get the track out. Very nice too. So, excuse me, for the moment, Philip Falcon is having to try and find a way back past. He's not going to get it done there. He pulls out of it and allows Yanchik to move on forward. It's, as you said, very good pace from Yanchik, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do later on tonight. The fastest lap goes to Zdenek Hamarkas. He's caught back up to Martin Visser, and that's a problem for Javier Sobrino, falling all the way to the back of the field at the final corner. We'll see what happened to him here. Looks like maybe a bit deep into the final turn, catching a bit of the gravel beyond the curb. Just the rear end letting go, which is certainly something that happens a lot in these cars.
Yeah, definitely can get a little bit of a rotation at times, but right now Zoltan Zomator has now got Yanchik applying all the pressure. I feel bad, like we're giving this guy so much screen time, but fair play. If he's making the battle, we'll put him on the air, as indeed he goes, catches a little bit of the curb there, and he's betting very aggressive. Now he's got to remember to stay cool behind the move. Zomator over rotates, Yanchik avoids, and that's Philip Falcon. He's gone there into the side of him. Don't get me wrong, we don't have a team championship anymore, but certainly it looked like there was some friendly rivalry between the drivers, and both of them are able to get the anchors put down, but it does look like Philip Falcon has picked up some damage on the right front of that number 13.
That's not good for Philip Falcon. Unfortunately, broadside on the exit was Zomator, and there wasn't much that Falcon could do to avoid that. Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, behind Domenico Sayu, and we now see our top four in club all together here. This could be interesting. Meanwhile, Childers moving back behind Barrett Brummett. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but it would appear that these three are having a fun little battle of their own for third, as it's been frankly incredible how much Zdenek Hamarkas has been able to catch back up to Martin Visser. I really thought Visser would have this race in the bag after Hamarkas' little semi-off-track moment, but he's made a great recovery.
Indeed, I have a feeling these guys are thinking about the long game, because indeed Zdenek Hamarkas and Martin Visser have managed to pull away at that 2-second gap. You can see them there, Brummett there in the background. Now Childers, he's definitely no strangers. Rich Meest is there, getting incredibly close on corner exit. I do have to wonder if these guys are going to try and catch up to the lead too, and indeed contend. But right now, they still indeed have that last spot on the podium to contend for. It looks like Carlos Picania has picked up a yellow flag, ladies and gentlemen. Potentially exceeding the track limits very briefly there.
Yeah, it can be easy to get a slowdown at Winton if you go too deep at turn 1, for example. Either that or maybe a little bit of a problem through the sweeper. And yeah, okay, so he's continuing to have problems there. Looks like yeah, the issue was just running off the track. So we'll see if there's anything else to be said about that from anyone else. The battle, for the moment, in the top 12, Neil England, Mark Schmerder, Zoltan Zumator, and Philip Falcon all in a line here, and it's the battle for 9th. So we'll see if there's any further passes here. Winton, I know from personal experience, from watching plenty of races here in the real world as well, it is a tough track to pass on. It's basically like Monaco without walls.
Yeah, certainly, and even then, Monaco is incredibly... It's historic, but it is a challenging circuit. It's certainly under a little bit of a debate there for the Formula One calendar as well. It's definitely more of a tourist attraction, and indeed the most epic of races we'll ever see. The Formula One cars obviously getting a lot wider. I personally think we should put Almeida Racing Academy students in Spec Racer Fords and run them around Monaco. That would definitely be a lot more entertaining in my opinion, and also a lot more cost effective. We could have more races indeed. But right now, despite the damage, Philip Falcon has been able to hold on. He is down one position in class, but side P9 overall, and is still managing to hold on to P9 overall. But Kevin Asian about 3.4 seconds ahead, ladies and gentlemen. All he can do is try and survive at this point and hope for a better race for round 2.
Yes, don't forget that the top 6 get inverted for the start of race 2. So that's worth thinking about. What's happened?
Oh, just a bit of dust getting kicked up. We're good.
Ah. All right, fair enough. Yeah, Jančík currently sits in that particular position from my assessment as Rich Meesters and Jeremy Childers continue their fight. And we'll see a bit of side-by-side going on further back here between Philip Falcon and Zoltan Zumator, both with damage from their coming together. And Falcon will stay ahead of Zumator for now. Meesters and Childers still fighting super hard as well. Meesters just gotten back by for 4th place. That's allowed Barrett Bromett to skip away in 3rd. So really starting to see the battle space out now.
Yeah, definitely. But right now, at the front of the pack, Martin Visser is there. He's leading. And I have a feeling, I don't think these guys were working together in qualifying. I have a feeling Martin Visser was basically getting everything he could, able to cash in on the draft from Zdeněk Hamak. And then Hamak wanted to get a return of the favourite, and Visser promptly pulled over. This is an all-out battle, ladies and gentlemen. I have a feeling there's going to be no holds barred, as these guys are now starting to get really into it with about 5 minutes left to go.
Yes, the race has flown by. Is there anything that Hamak can do here at the final couple of corners? You can make moves here, but you need to make sure that you're well clear of the car you're trying to pass by the time you get out. The track is incredibly narrow in that section, and you got to deal with the long start-finish straight in the midst of it. Another big change of direction there for Visser. He wants to get onto the ideal racing line for turn 1 as soon as possible, over the bumps into the braking zone. We'll keep our eyes on Jeremy Childers and Rich Meesters as well, as this battle for 4th really heating up. Looking forward to seeing how it turns. Oh my God, Meesters is the first victim of the death curb. Oh, good Lord, that is terrible for Rich Meesters. He hasn't gotten a mechanical black flag from that, but it looks like that may very well be a big problem for the remainder of this race.
I'm just trying to see if we can get a better camera angle of that, because that was absolutely fantastic launch in there. Sorry, Rich, but the entertainment value for me was worthwhile. Full airtime.
Yeah, that's incredible. A slow motion of that would be fantastic, but we'll
I think we got it.
yeah, we got it. So Rich Meesters, despite that airborne moment, does not have a mechanical black flag, so he's still able to move forward from here. Whether or not he'll actually move forward is another question. Holds on to P5, but his pace may very well be down now. Zumator and Falcon continuing their fight for P9, and this is a good chance for me to double check the gainers and losers throughout the field. Our top 4 staying exactly the same, apart from Meesters. Childers moving into P4. And we've had Domenico Sayu make up 3 positions. It's also 3 positions up for Kevin Adrian too, and Mark Schmurder and Neil England. So we've had some pretty good gains from some drivers in this field. Unfortunately, James Conrad would have been hoping for a bit better. Started 7th and currently runs 14th.
Well, we do have a little bit of a call out here on Rich Meesters. We've got Cairo Enns in the chat saying, kept it alive, good job. Jake Enns having a little bit of a different view though. I didn't realise camels can fly. That's fair. Fair play to it. It was, I've got to be honest, it was the best air flight I've seen with a spec racer Ford in an actual race. As you see, Yan Yan Cheek running a little bit wide. He was starting to catch up to the back there of Meesters. It looks like he's indeed lost a little bit of time there. But further back, though, Zoltan Zomator and Philip Balcom, these 2 guys are indeed still going at it. It looks like Mark Schmurder getting a little bit of pressure there from the gentleman that is the one and only Mr. Steve Saunders.
Yes, so Saunders taking a bit of a wider line into the hairpin there to try and straighten up the exit, but it seems that Schmurder is a little bit more confident on the power. Saunders does have the slipstream though, so he'll be able to stick with it. Collects a tiny bit of the apex curb, which can destabilize the car. The apex curbs here, for the most part, are pretty high and solid concrete. But there's plenty of curbs around here that are also the more modern ripple strip type of curb as well. You just got to learn the circuit and know exactly where those curbs are and where to push. Slipstream now for Saunders down the start-finish straight. And he'll pull out and have a look at Mark Schmurder at the very least. Tries to get alongside, but it's not quite enough. He has forced Schmurder offline though, and could translate that into a move at turn 3. He gets alongside into the braking zone, but Schmurder once again pushes hard into the corner and keeps Saunders behind.
Oh, but for how long? Certainly Schmurder, he has indeed been involved in a couple of murders, at least when it comes to the sim racing exploits, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, look behind. Steve Saunders is going to be under attack here from Neil England very shortly. The attempt to pass has not been successful, and now he's going to find himself under attack from the number 27.
Yeah, this is almost a 4-way battle now. We see James Conrad involved in all of this as well. It's a 4-car fight for P11 with under 30 seconds to go on the race timer. And it would appear that next lap will be the last lap. So now the time is starting to run out. And this is where the drivers need to put their money where their mouths are. With just 5 seconds remaining on the timer, Visser crosses the line, so it will be the final lap of the race. It's Zdenek Hamak's last chance to have a run at a win here in the first race, and last chance for Schmurder, Saunders, England and Conrad to sort themselves out.
Yeah, certainly this battle, I have a feeling, is going to be temperature dial turned all the way to the max, ladies and gentlemen. These guys have been fighting a large amount of this season. Certainly, I am missing Kane Halliburton on this occasion. I'd love to see just how far he could have made it through the field, especially with a track like Winton, where passing is indeed quite the challenge for Zdenek Hamak. He can see victory ahead, but Martin Visser stands in his way. Is he going to be able to capitalize on that? Now, don't get me wrong, without the draft, Hamak was definitely quicker, but can Visser hold on and put in an absolutely fantastic defensive game? Barrett Brummett, though, resting right behind, 2.7 seconds back. Should these guys come together, he could be able to secure a win.
Yes, indeed. He's solidly in P3, though, with no pressure from behind. So if I were in Brummett's position, I would see no reason to push. Maybe at least try to keep the gap consistent to the top 2, just in case. All of the curb being used on the exit there for both Visser and Hamak. And it will be last chance to make a dive here, but Hamak is a wily fox. He knows that there is no way to cleanly make that pass. So, out of the final corner they come, and Martin Visser is going to take the first win of the night in the final round of Season 5. Brilliant job to hold off Hamak there, who was on an absolute rip and tear on recovery. Brummett finishes third, Childers, Meesters, and Janchik rounding out your top 6 there. Flip them. And that's going to be your top 6 for race 2. Meanwhile, this fight continuing on between Saunders, England, Conrad and Schmurder, and they will finish in pretty much the same order as before. Not much of a chance to make a move there around the final lap, but we'll wait and see what the other 2 races bring.
Yeah, certainly. It's definitely been proven to be quite challenging here to get a pass done at Winton. The hard charger at the field was indeed Kevin Adrian, who gained 4 positions. Ladies and gentlemen, let's very quickly go over those 4 results.
Yes, so it was Martin Visser who won, Zdenek Hamak and Barrett Brummett completing the podium. Rich Meester's losing 4th place to Jeremy Childers there, with Jan Jančík finishing P6 and winning in club. Fantastic performance there. In 7th place, it was Kevin Adrian gaining those 4 positions, as you said. And then 8th and 9th, Domenico Sayu and Zoltan Zomator. Philip Falcon rounds out your top 10.
Let's have a look there. Mark Schmoeder took 11th, Steve Saunders applying plenty of pressure there in P12. Neil England and James Conrad 13th and 14th, right involved in that battle as well. Javier Sobrino, he took 15th with Carlos Picagna, closing out your 16-car grid for this first race here at Winton.
Yes, and I don't think there's much need to really go through the grid for race number 2. All you really need to know is the top 6 from race 1 got inverted. So Jančík starts on pole alongside Meesters, with Childers and Brummett on row 2 and Hamak and Visser on row 3. Everyone else starts exactly where they finished from the results we just read out. So this is a big chance for Jan Jančík, and you see he's already making big moves to try and warm up his front tyres there. He's going to need all the grip he can get for that first lap.
Absolutely. We can see here from the back of the pace car, these guys are absolutely getting it together, ladies and gentlemen. What an absolutely fantastic view it's going to be, and indeed a potent race. We're going to look forward. Can Jančík hold on? Can he think about the long game? And indeed, can Meesters find and skill a all-right race win? As away they go, ladies and gentlemen, for this second race here at Winton.
All right, Jančík leads across the line, but it's a great start from Jeremy Childers. He's overtaken Meesters, or just trying to at least, for second. Meesters a bit deeper into the first turn is going to keep Childers behind him, and Childers almost runs over the death curve in the process. He'll let Hamak by as well as Brummett, and we'll see Martin Visser up the inside of Jeremy Childers next as Childers goes off into the gravel, and he's going to have to yield there to Visser. This is the problem with the first lap at Winton. If you're offline, off rhythm even a little bit, and everyone's still so close together, it can be so difficult to find your spot to slot into, and Childers has fallen all the way to P7 from that.
Yeah, certainly he was definitely up against it there, but fair play, he did manage to rejoin safely, which is a crucial part of it. But right now, Jančík, all he's got to do is try and break that draft. These guys, they did try and work together a little bit there. We saw Meesters working together with one of the drivers. I think it was, I think it might have been with Jeremy Childers there in that last race. I did see a little bit of bump drafting, but right now, the gap, 6 tenths, 7 tenths of a second. Jančík needs to try and keep it clean. It's further behind. He's got Meesters, Hamak, and indeed Barrett Brummett starting to apply the pressure with Martin Visser very much in tow. Half the field's pretty much there, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, indeed. Who was that?
Yeah, it's James Conrad going off there, and I think Neil England as well. Big problems there, and Conrad is towed back to pit lane as a result, and looks like Barrett Brummett just ran off at the exit of the final corner as well. Looks like some contact there.
Well, we have a quick look here. So thankfully, Barrett Brummett is still very much in the race. And we got to see 3 wide through turn 1. That would have been incredible, albeit a little bit chaotic. As right now, we're going 2 by 2, ladies and gentlemen. And it looks like Kevin Adrian is getting into the mix here as well. Barrett Brummett's there on the inside as Martin Visser has been pushed there to the outside in the teal car. He takes to the sand, gets a little bit of a tack snapper going, but able to hold on. As you see, half of the field, ladies and gentlemen, all trying to fight their way up and forward. Dominic Sayu there on the defense. Steve Saunders trying to get in on there, as is Philip Falcon as well.
Oh, Saunders gets past Falcon. Honestly, I'm impressed at the recoveries that we've seen. I thought that both Childers and Visser for sure would have spun or at least had some contact as they tried to make their way back onto the circuit, but both of them have done really well to preserve some momentum. Visser moving back to 8th place. He's got Zoltan Zomator up in front of him, and I'm sure he'll be in a hurry to try and make those moves and get back ahead, because Zdenek Hamak, whom Visser was with before, is still in 3rd, and he has nearly a second to the pursuing pack behind.
Yeah, I got a feeling there's a little bit more than friendly rivalry between the driver of the number 11 and indeed the 137, but right now it's looking really good. Ladies and gentlemen, a club class driver is not only leading the race, but he is pulling away almost 2 seconds. If he can keep it together, he will indeed be on for an all-out win. And Zdenek Hamak and Rich Meesters are going to go side by side, making their way down towards turn 1, and Meesters tucks in behind.
Yeah, Meesters ran wide on the exit of the final corner, lost all momentum, and Hamak was duly moving on through. But now it's Hamak's turn to run deep, this time at the exit of turn 2. But unfortunately, the straight not long enough for Meesters to take advantage. This is turning into quite the interesting race.
Ooh.
I knew that the invert... Oh, hello, side by side there. That's Zomator trying to keep Saunders behind. I knew that the invert would make things interesting, but this race has exceeded my expectations thus far as Sayu tries desperately to hold onto the car. Falcon just holds on. Mark Schmerder and Javier Sobrino have to check up at the back of the pack. This train is ridiculous.
Oh, it's absolutely crazy. Got to say, great recovery there from Dominic Sayu. I thought he was going to lose that for sure, or indeed lose the position, and he did neither. Ladies and gentlemen, he kept hold of it, but right now, Philip Halkin can see Sayu having a little bit of a struggle there, runs a little bit wide, and is this going to be the opportunity here for the Canadian driver, the driver of the number 13, as he gets out of the draft? Can he make a move there? Thinks about it, and then backs it off. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a feeling a few of these drivers may be in it for the long game. Certainly risk versus reward, as I'd say that. Zomator and Steve Saunders go side by side.
And Zomator outbrakes Saunders into the penultimate corner, but Saunders going to try the cut back there on the inside. Beautiful move. And Zomator will be forced wide and onto the gravel there. Still gets an exit slightly better than that of Saunders, and so might be able to protect it into turn 1. This battling is fantastic, and it's a front row seat for Domenico Sayu, who thinks about a move up the inside there. The two of them in front, they barely avoid making contact through turn 2. Fantastic fighting.
I got a feeling it's going to be a case of Skittles in a minute, and indeed the whole world will see the rainbow spill all over the track, as indeed these guys are continuing to battle. It's absolutely fantastic up front. Jan Cheeks pulled away a 2-second gap. We're going to leave him to his own devices, as right now Dominic Sayu and indeed Steve Saunders are absolutely battling it out, using every single bit of the grip they can, and that's a late move by Sayu. A little bit of a lock up there, not quite able to get it done, as now Philip Falcon sees an opportunity.
My goodness, Philip Falcon now sees the opportunity for sure. That's way offline there for the number 9 of Sayu, but he protects it. He parks it on the apex, as that's a spin for Stephen Saunders. And he'll fall back to 14th place at least, potentially 15th. Oh, that was a perfect time to cut Zippy as we saw that move there. Good. it's kind of funny, actually. Neil England. Oh, dear. Looks like he also had a problem there as well. Okay. Philip Falcon still now trying to make a recovery. He's got Carlos Vacania and Javier Sobrino side by side behind, and Sobrino is going to make the move on the Brazilian. And it looks like there isn't going to be much response there from Carlos. We'll see if he can find another way past somewhere else. He's going to have a look up the inside of turn 1, but no dice. It's very difficult to get an outbraking move done there. It's a lot faster than it looks.
Yeah, definitely. I see exactly what happens. Steve Saunders catches a little bit of the sand and boop, away he goes. Thankful for the big runoff here, but definitely some interesting lines going on here as we have a look a bit further up the grid. Rich Meesters is currently there in P3, but right behind is indeed Barrett Brummett, about 0.4 of a second.
Yes, indeed. So this fight will undoubtedly continue for as long as the drivers can hold on to their cars. We shall see what Barrett Brummett has for Rich Meesters here. He's looking at a podium. Rich Meesters wants a podium as well. They've been very sparing for him this season. And for the moment, Brummett not able to get the exit he needs to stay with Meesters there. He has to keep an eye out for Kevin Adrian behind as well. Adrian is quite rapid in these cars, as we've seen it at multiple rounds this season. And Martin Visser still trying to make a recovery with Jeremy Childers up ahead of him. That's a really good exit out of the final corner, though. Visser could get this done.
Well, they're going to go side by side down towards turn 1. You see Childers, he backs out of it, or at least I think he does. Yep, backs out of it, gives Visser the position, decides that it's going to be better in the long run, as indeed Visser is trying to fight for a championship.
Yeah, indeed he is. Unlikely to overcome the points total that Ian Joyner has accrued over his period of dominance, but to secure second place in the championship would be fantastic there for Mr. Visser side by side again between Sabrino and this time Mark Schmerder. Sabrino starting to make moves. Got Philip Falcon up ahead of him. Got to wonder if Sabrino will get a top 10 out of this with the pace he has.
Yeah, certainly, and we do have a little bit of a call out here from Jake Enns, ladies and gentlemen, as indeed he makes a valid point. Zdenek Hamak has managed to close up that gap there on Jan Jančík. It was as high as 2 seconds a lap earlier. He took about 4 attempts, 5 attempts out of him on the last lap, but indeed, Jan Jančík, he can see victory ahead of him, but he's got to hold on for about another 7 minutes, and I have a feeling that Zdenek Hamak, he's keen to score some points here over Visser. You can see him there lurking in the background, pretty much boxed in, 4 cars around him, and side by side goes indeed Kevin Adrian and Barrett Brummett.
Yeah, Rich Meesters continuing the defense there, and they come together, and Visser gets involved as well. Finding his way through is Jeremy Childers with barely any damage. It's all gone wrong for Kevin Adrian and Barrett Brummett, who both make their recovery, as Javier Sabrino will get a couple of freebies out of this one. He'll certainly be happy with that. But that's what happens when you're very close quarters in the final turns at Winton. It's a cramped circuit, a cramped racetrack at the best of times, and you need to play your cards with that in mind. And thinking about that, with Hamak's pace now over Jančík, what on earth can we see in terms of a move for the lead? We know that Jančík is a driver who really pushes the limits. He loves to rag a car to the limit of its grip. And Hamak, meanwhile, he seems a little bit more calculated, a little bit more consistent, you could say. And that's not a knock on Jančík by any means. But Hamak is the faster of the two at the moment. And so we'll have to see Jančík exercise his defensive muscles for a few corners here.
Yeah, I think the best way of putting it is you could say that one is driven by passion, one is driven by technique potentially, or indeed, you know, as you said, more calculated here. But right now, I got to admit, I'm cheering for the driver at the 445. I'd love to see him be able to get an outright win. That would be an absolutely incredible achievement. But you got to ask yourself, I mean, look at the laps, ladies and gentlemen. Last 2 laps, Hamak has been absolutely dazzlingly faster as he's gone and done it yet again as he goes side by side through turn 1.
Yeah, Jančík successfully defends the lead through the opening corners. Under 5 minutes to go, just coming up on 4 minutes remaining. As, man, Jančík, every time I look at him, he is leaving some sort of tyre trail through these corners. And I think that's a consequence of the high track temperature that we've seen today. It has gone down quite a bit from the first race and from qualifying. Only 33 Celsius, so I think the tyres will be in better condition for everybody.
Yeah, certainly, but I have to wonder if maybe he's got a little bit too much heat in there, and that's what has cost him the pace. Maybe a lapse of concentration. Myself, I do not like leading a race. I find that I am more prone to make mistakes. I would much rather be behind you, applying pressure, trying to shake you from the lead. But right now, this is indeed the closest battle we got going on, as Zdenek Hamak looking to try and make his way to the top step of the podium.
He really likes to use that apex curve at the left-hander, doesn't he? Jančík staying off it and trading a slightly geometrically slower line for a bit more stability, but both of them are using the curbs to their full effect in the final couple of corners. A little wheel dipped into the gravel there for Jančík. 3 minutes to go, and that is going to be just about bang on 2 laps. So it's going to be a bit touch and go. Whether the white flag comes out next time by or not. Fastest lap from Martin Visser, 128.4, despite the damage that he got from that spin. Let's see if he can find his way back past Childers for 4th place.
Yeah, certainly Jeremy has definitely got a defensive game on him when he needs to, but he has been away from the sim for a while, and it's good to see that he has returned, albeit he might not be aware of exactly the potency of the driver right behind. Martin Visser has indeed been in the academy for a little while, and it's fair to say he's usually at the top of the food chain, ladies and gentlemen, but right now, I have a feeling Jeremy Childers will be very much feeling like prey.
Or they get so close into the braking zone. That braking zone is so difficult. You have to negotiate that right-hander and sort of get on the brakes as you're coming out of the turn, which can really unsettle the rear of the car. And it's very easy to induce understeer when you try to recover that. There's a lot of subtle ways that Winton can creep up on you and grab you. So we'll see what they can do here. Hamak, meanwhile, is back with Meisters. What happened to Hamak?
Well, let's have a quick look here. You see there Hamak right behind Yanchik and just absolutely missed the breaking point. This is the best news that Yanchik could have ever hoped for. All he has to do is hold on, but right now, Meisters, he can see second place right ahead of him in the form of that, and not only that, behind him, you see Childers still having to work the defensive game against Martin Visser as they're going to go side by side there into turn one.
Tell you what, apart from Hamak, as Childers and Visser complete a fantastic side-by-side sequence there. That was a great move from Visser. He carried the speed through the corner and made it work. But Yanchik has not been the fastest out of the top 5 the last few laps. They're all creeping up on him. Hamak and Meisters are still only about 1.3 seconds behind, and oh dear, it looks like Javier Sobrino is going to have another issue there and allow Mark Schmerter through for the last position in the top 10. Fortunately, keeping it out of the wall once more. What exactly happened to him here? Oh, a little snap in the middle of turn 3, and very difficult to recover when you're trying to maximize your pace.
Well, we thought it was all going to be over here for Zdeněk Hamak, but saying that, he's already closed that gap back into a second. And as you were saying, Yanchik has not been the fastest this last couple of laps. On best time, he's pretty potent, but on the last lap, he did a 1:31.5. He's actually, honestly, he's actually the slowest driver that last lap, ladies and gentlemen. That's definitely not other than Hamak. So definitely, he's got to keep working. He's got to hold on. He's got about 2 minutes, and indeed, if he can keep the distance and keep Hamak out of that drop, he may indeed be able to hold on. But it's fair to say, Meisters, no slouch himself. Hamak has just absolutely walked away from him. White flag.
Yeah, certainly has. That's it. White flag out, and that's another nearly 0.5 of a second that Zdeněk Hamak has taken out of Yanchik. How much faster can he possibly be over a single lap to make the pass for the lead from here? It has to be a perfect lap from Zdeněk Hamak and a perfectly executed pass to take this win away from Yanchik, who I have missed a couple of rounds this season, Zippy, due to other commitments, but I hope you can tell me, has Yanchik actually won a race yet?
He has done fantastically in the club class, but an outright win, that's something that very few drivers have been blessed with, especially when the likes of Ian Joyner shows up to play. But indeed, this is it. The pressure he must be feeling right now will be absolutely insane. Zdeněk Hamak has already pulled in to 0.6 of a second. Further back, Javier Sobrino and Mark Schmerter are going to go at it as well, but we're going to leave them to it. This lead battle could be absolutely groundbreaking, ladies and gentlemen. Yanchik looking to make his first ever Almeida Racing Academy win, but Hamak, don't get me wrong, he's done it before if I'm not mistaken, but can he do it again? Yanchik will be fighting. The club class driver has 5 premier drivers behind him, but can he hold on and beat them all in this final corner? It looks like he's going to get away with it. Ladies and gentlemen, it's going to come down to the line, the gap. 4 attempts, 3 attempts, and ladies and gentlemen, he's done it for the first time. Yanchik wins outright at the Almeida Racing Academy. Oh, here we go, celebration time, airtime.
Boy!
Attaboy.
That was me. That I honestly, yes, I would do it again. I'm clapping for Yanchik. That was incredible. Fantastic drive from him. He held everybody off. He avoided making mistakes while just about everyone else in the field did. Just incredible stuff. And well, he's been very quick to jump into the interview channel, because here he is in the comms box now. Jan, you've taken your first overall win in this league. Goodness me, you must be feeling incredible relief after Hamak was pressuring you that much.
Oh my God, I almost can't breathe and talk. Oof. I almost when he spun out behind me, when he got spooked by me. I was sorry for that, but I don't think that was my fault. But after that, I completely lost focusing on stupid things. You saw me almost go into the pits and stuff. I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? So it was very tight in the end again, because I lost all the time I had. But man, this was, I'm not a fan of this track. I'm not very good. But even with a little practice, I don't know how I managed this. It's a miracle.
Yeah, honestly, I remember my first win in a league and in a major series, and I totally get how you feel, Jan. When you're starting that final lap and you know that you're so close to getting it done, sometimes the nerves can really get to you. But honestly, I think this is a perfect arc, really, for your improvement as a driver over the time you spent in the Almeida Racing Academy.
Oh yeah, for sure. And this took everything out of me. I don't know what I have left for the next race. Oh my god.
Well, we'll see, and you're going to be starting race 3 from pole position. Let's see if you can do it again. Thanks for joining us, mate, and congratulations again.
Thanks, guys.
Well, with that, we are going to step aside for a brief moment. Right after we go through those results. So Jančík taking the win, a club class driver on the overall winning spot, and Zdeněk Hamáček finishing second, only 0.3 of a second behind. Meisters, Childers, and Visser are your top 5, with Zomator finishing in 6th, ahead of Sayu, Falcon. They complete the club class podium, and Kevin Adrian in 9th. Mark Schmurder rounding out the top 10. Then Sabrino, Bromett, Neil, England, Carlos Vacania, Steve Saunders, and James Conrad, all having their own issues over the course of the race. Hopefully race 3 goes a bit better for them. But for now, we are going to take a breather here and have a word from our friends at the Almeida Racing Academy.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Suelio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because of the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Suelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy, wait a race.
Well, a huge thanks to everyone at the Almeida Racing Academy for not only putting this series on, but bringing us on board here at Pit Road Productions to bring it to the world. It's been a great journey that we've had with this league from the very start, in fact, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what more can be brought to the table here. If you're just joining us, I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Salmon alongside me in the comms box and also producing behind the scenes here. Goodness me, Zippy, this last round at Winton has had just about everything, and I reckon Jančík, he's going to continue those celebrations long after this event has concluded, but he's still got one more race here to start on pole position and see if he can repeat that victory.
Yeah, certainly. I definitely get it. I mean, having the skills to be able to, to race, not only that, to have pace is one thing, but certainly managing to beat your own mind is another. And fair play to him. He's a passionate individual, and I love the fact he came in for an interview. And I get it. I really get it. And that's definitely something that you want to, you want to celebrate that. You want to enjoy that. And indeed, he's going to have to see if he can do it again. Here's the grid.
Indeed, Jančík starts on pole with Zdeněk Hamáček alongside him. Rich Meisters and Jeremy Childers on row number 2. Martin Visser and Zoltán Zomator, 5th and 6th. In 7th, Domenico Sayu starts alongside Philip Falcon, and Kevin Adrian and Mark Schmurder will round out your top 10.
As we have a look there in P11, it's going to be Harry Sabrino with Barrett Brummett there in 12th. Rocking down to 13th, we're going to have Neil England with Carlos Picagna alongside with Steve Saunders, the gentleman himself, in 15th, and James Conrad at the back of the grid there in 16th. But the big question we've got to ask, can Jančík, he's done it once, he's had a taste of that champagne, can he do it again? Zdeněk Hamák has had the best race pace we've seen of the day so far. Is it going to be enough? We'll have to find out.
Indeed, and there's plenty of other factors that we have to consider here as well. Not just the fact that it is a slightly longer race here for the final race of the day. 20 minutes on the clock, and Martin Visser will certainly be happy for that. That's 5 extra minutes that he has to try and get back onto the podium after race 2 did not go his way. Jeremy Childers wants to grab a podium. Meesters wants to keep up his podium pace here today. What can the likes of Kevin Adrian, James Conrad, and Stephen Saunders do in this race? We'll have to wait and see as Jančík leads us away. Across the line, green flag flies one final time for Season 5 of the Almeida Racing Academy. And it is side by side into Turn 1. Here comes Zdeněk Hamák up the inside again. Jančík, a little bit of side-to-side contact between them, but Jančík is going to hold strong coming out of Turn 2. But Hamák is going to be first to the apex of Turn 3. Jančík will move behind, and Jeremy Childers is going to be right on the back of them there for third. Meanwhile, Rich Meesters and Martin Visser continuing to fight over fourth, and Visser can't find a way past. Jančík is piling the pressure on Hamák. He's not going to let him get away with this.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. You see they're getting really aggressive on the curve, gets a little bit of a bounce, but thankfully able to hold on. Now, what he's got to do right now is not let Hamák get away. If you get a little bit of a gap here, get a little bit of a break, it's going to be a perfect opportunity. But the whole of the top 5 all together, in fact, the whole grid, ladies and gentlemen, all very much together. James Conrad not taking to the start, but indeed, this is going to be an absolute belter of a round for the final round here of Season 5 of the Almeida Racing Academy.
All right, here we go then into the left-hander they come, and nice clean lines from just about everybody as they make their way down to the penultimate corner for the first lap. Jančík under a bit more pressure now from Childers, from Meesters, from Martin Visser and Zoltán Zsombor, who thus far only cars in the top 6 still to be in the same positions they started in. Everyone else has either moved up one position or is down one position. We will see what more is to be said into Turn 1. They break so late into this sequence here, and be so careful about how you use the curbs. We've already had a couple of drivers fall victim to that curb on the exit of Turn 2. Hopefully we don't see any of that here. Meesters is the driver that hit it in race 1, I believe, so he's going to need to keep a close eye out for that. At the moment, he sits in a strong 4th. Let's see if he can get back past Childers and keep Visser behind him.
Yeah, certainly it looks like the Cool Camel racing machine may indeed be a Cool Camel stunt plane after seeing what he did in race 1. But Kevin Adrian now applying a good amount of pressure to Dominic Sayu. Don't get me wrong, I think Sayu got the better of him at the start, but for how long? As we got a little bit of movement further back as well. Barrett Brummett going side by side here with Javier Sabrino.
Great racing between these two. And it looks like Brummett's going to get it done through the left-hander, round the trees. We are in rural Victoria, Australia. The Benalla Auto Club started this racetrack in, I believe, the late 1960s. And it has been a fixture of the Australian national racing scene ever since. Hosts a round of supercars every year, and it's certainly interesting to see those cars go around here as Sayu pulls under more pressure from Kevin Adrian. Great defense. Adrian just couldn't find his way through as that Schmurder that's gone off. And Zoltán Zsombor and Rich Meesters as well. Bodywork is flying.
Oh, my word.
And, oh, my goodness, what happened there?
Well, we're going to go straight to the replay here. Here's Rich Meesters. You can see there on corner exit, everything's looking good. He's got Visser right behind, goes right, gets a little bit of a slide going, a little bit of a tank slide, and absolutely rebounds off the wall. I think that may have been Philip Falcon. No, it's Zoltán Zsombor. He ended up having a face full of Rich Meesters there. That is not the result he was looking for.
Wow, that's an unfortunate consequence of the tyre barriers at that section. Meesters bounced right back onto the circuit. Both he and Zsombor have mechanical black flags now, and it looks like it's going to be race over. Behind them, this happened at the same time. Mark Schmurder getting absolutely bodied through the final corners.
Yeah, there's definitely been a few casualties at the start of this race. It's Rich Meesters, fair play to him. He's running the open concept spec racer Ford there. It's great to see a little bit more of the design features of this car, but it looks like Zoltan Zomator has indeed picked up a meatball flag, as indeed has Rich Meesters. And, ladies and gentlemen, we have an outright race here. Howling between Steve Saunders and Rich Meesters. Sadly, Meesters will indeed have to pit for that meatball flag, but I gotta say, if it ain't broke, keep racing. Is that the new slogan?
Maybe. However, we need to consider that when you get a mechanical black flag in iRacing, you have to come into the pits to get the damage repaired within 3 laps of that flag being assigned to you, as Yanchik pushes the limits out of the final corner. So, yeah, Meesters is going to have to come in at some point. Zomator has already towed back to pit lane, and it looks like that may be day done for him. We'll see if Meesters has the same thing happen to him as Barrett Brummett now tries to make his way past Kevin Adrian. Brummett is now up 4 places from where he finished in race 2 as the death curb almost claims another victim. Kevin Adrian somehow gets away with that with no damage.
I gotta be honest, like, is it a Canadian thing at this point, Philip Falcon? I feel that you almost need to go and clip them curbs just to give us the full-on reputation of wanting to take flight. But fair play, Adrian able to hold on, albeit by the skin of his teeth, ladies and gentlemen. That Spec Racer Ford almost becoming a Spec Racer stunt plane there. That's indeed Barrett Brummett. I gotta be honest, I feel he manipulated the situation, and I gotta say, fair play to him. It's legit, but what an absolutely insane move there. Fair play to the driver of the number 10. He managed to hold on, albeit only just.
Yeah, such a difficult exit at turn 2. You know, every time I drive at Winton, I come into turn 2, I tip it in, I just hit the apex, and I hope and pray that I don't get understeer on the exit, because hitting that curb, depending on the car, it can be a race ender. It's a ridiculous bit of racetrack. It certainly keeps drivers honest, though. As Barrett Brummett sails past Domenico Sayu into the penultimate corner, he gathers it up somehow on the exit. Now Kevin Adrian wants to find his way through as well.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it is indeed going to be a bit of a battle there. Barrett Brummett is very much on a mission today. He's a hard charger as well, up 6 positions overall. But right now, I have a feeling something happened further back here. I think Steve Saunders or indeed Carlos Picagna went off track, and that made New England be able to get his way by. And indeed, Steve Saunders catching up at quite an alarming pace. But right now, Dominic Sayu under a lot of pressure here from the driver of the number 10. Further up the field, though, Sadek Hamak has indeed just going to set the fastest lap of the race with a 128.5. About half a second quicker than Yan Yanchik, but Yanchik still able to hold in on the draft. But for how long? If he breaks that draft, then that'll be it. The number 11 will indeed run away.
Indeed, and Yanchik will still be in trouble for second as well, because Jeremy Childers isn't too far behind him. There's our top 3 at the moment, and Visser isn't too far behind either. He is just on the verge of being within a second of that battle for P2. So let's see what goes on here. Visser has taken a few wins this season, wants to try and do it one more time here at Winton. Kevin Adrian then, still stuck behind Domenico Sayu, but we'll see what kind of exit he gets here. That's the kind of exit he is looking for, at least in the short term. Sayu's going to be forced defensive into the penultimate turn.
Yeah, it looked like he went to go and break the draft there and then cut back over. But fair play, Kevin Adrian has definitely got Sayu very much distracted. And indeed, they are falling back quite heavily to Barrett Brummett ahead in that number 39 car. Now, you got to wonder, are these guys going to fight outright for position? I think so. Or they're going to think about the long game indeed. But right now, this is a battle in the club class for P3, ladies and gentlemen, with Yan Yanchik getting first. And currently, right now, Philip Falcon doing very well in P2 for the club class and P5 overall.
Yeah, it's been a nice turnaround for Philip Falcon after his first couple of races didn't entirely go to plan for him. Qualified 9th, finished 10th in race 1, and then could only improve to 8th in race 2. So it's been a steady climb up for Philip Falcon. Kevin Adrian, meanwhile, still looking to find his way past Domenico Sayu, but I think Winton's dark side is starting to rear its head here. I think everyone was able to make those. Okay then. Carlos Picagna trying to find his way around Neil England, who also has his front bodywork missing, but no mechanical black flag. England was one of the cars involved in the secondary incident behind the big one out of the final corners. Yeah, you don't often see the front tyres of a spec racer Ford from this view, but a nice little look at exactly what makes this car tick. England still up 2 positions from where he started, and even if he isn't able to get any higher, he'll still be up 1 position from where he started because everyone else is in the pits.
Yeah, definitely not what he had in mind, as James Conrad did not take to the race. Sultan Zomator and Mark Schmerder, the 2 German drivers, definitely not having the best luck in this race. And indeed, Rich Mises, I believe, is currently in pit road again as well. I have a feeling, again, no fast repair, ladies and gentlemen. But right now, Dominic Sayu still under good pressure there from Kevin Adrian. Further up, though, Jeremy Childers has indeed got Martin Visser right behind. And we know Visser has been a championship contender from the start, ladies and gentlemen, himself and Edwin Rivera, and indeed Ian Joyner, very much battling it out with Zdenek Hamak as well. But right now, Hamak, probably Visser's biggest rival present today, is currently in the lead by about 2.5 seconds from this gentleman here.
Yes, indeed. Zdenek Hamak now starting to cruise out front as the battle for second gets ever closer. Both Childers and Visser are catching up to Jančík. 128.7 for Jančík on the previous lap. Childers a little bit less consistent than we likely expected. His fastest lap is a 128.6, but he can only manage low 1-minute 29s in the last couple of laps. Visser is making some good gains on him. They are both, on average, a little bit faster than Jančík, so I think there's going to be a bit of a compression in this fight. 9.5 minutes remain.
Yeah, certainly just as we pass over the halfway point, I have a feeling that Visser's going to be trying to make his way up there. As you see, very aggressive turn in there. And I'm going to have to wonder, is it going to be enough as he's going to try and make his way up on the inside there of Childers. Fair play. Childers left the space and Visser just said, thank you very much. I'll take that. Childers ducks in behind. I have a feeling that Jeremy is thinking about the long game here. He's going to try and use Visser as a little bit of a slingshot here to propel himself up towards the club class leader right now, Jan Jančík, who's currently in P2 overall.
Yep, hitch a tow hook, get your rope strung out, and follow Martin Visser. Try and keep as close to him as you can, because Visser is one of the fastest drivers here today, and he'll certainly be able to catch up to Jančík in a few laps if he can keep that pace up. He took the fastest lap on the previous lap, down to a 128.1. They're almost getting down to... Actually, hang on a minute. I am looking at the entire rest of the race on the timing screen. No one has been able to go that fast tonight yet. Visser must have had an absolutely perfect lap there.
Yeah, definitely indeed. As it looks like Dominic Sayu has taken the scenic route, ladies and gentlemen, and now Kevin Adrian has found his way ahead, but not without a little bit more competition there, as Javier Sabrino now is going to be applying a good pressure to the number 10 driver here of Kevin Adrian. Let's try and find out exactly what happened.
Yes, indeed. So, change for position between those two. Sayu, lock up and going deep, and well, he made his way back onto the track nice and clean, but unfortunately not much else he can do from that. So we're back to Sabrino and Adrian, and we're back to Neil England and Stephen Saunders fighting over 11th place here, and Neil England falling behind Saunders there. As I mentioned before, though, Neil England still up 1 spot from where he started, and there's going to be no pressure from behind because everyone else either didn't start the race in the first place in the case of Conrad, or have mechanical black flags in the case of Meester, Zomator and Schmerder. That's how the move was made.
I gotta say, I feel like that one is also maybe the battle of the scrap heap challenge at this point. Both those cars being open concept, but let's find our way a little bit further forward. It looks like Philip Falcon now getting a little bit of an attack here from the hard charger in the field of Barrett Brummett, who's currently there in P6 overall.
Up 6 places is Barrett Brummett, and he's having a very good time of it too. His pace is pretty equal with Philip Falcon, actually. These two are shadowing each other very nicely. 129.142 for Falcon on the last lap. For Brummett, a 129.157. So barely a couple of hundredths of a second between these two on pace at the moment. The slipstream is on for Brummett, and it looks like it might be enough to launch himself into a move into turn 1. And a little bit earlier on the brakes is Philip Falcon. He's going to give Brummett that position. Probably recognises that Brummett's pace overall has looked a bit better on average, and it's probably not worth fighting him too hard. Maybe he can use him, much like Jeremy Childers was attempting to use Martin Visser. But speaking of Visser, he has left Childers in the dust.
Yeah, very much so. Now, Jan Jančík, we know, will defend this if his life depends on it, ladies and gentlemen. He is not a man who's going to just give Visser a little bit of a slingshot by. I have a feeling we're going to be in for a good battle here. And certainly on a track like Winton, I think if your defensive game is on point, you can indeed very much hold on to a position. You've just got to try and make it that you don't lose too much time to the car ahead. But at this point, with about 6.5 minutes, 5.5 minutes left to go, ladies and gentlemen, I'd say Hamac's pretty much checked out, and if I was Jančík, yeah, I would be very much defending against Visser as well.
Yeah, it's at this point in the race where, and I've been in this position before, you see the guy ahead streaking away and you think, okay, I'm probably not going to be able to manage to match that pace. I need to focus on what's behind me now. I need to try and keep myself from losing more positions, because second place worth a lot of points overall in this championship. Worth pointing out, as always, that the classes, Premier and Club, are not scored separately. You get points based on your overall finishing position. So the more Premier class drivers you have in between yourself and your nearest club rival, the more of a points advantage you have, just straight up.
Yeah, certainly there's a lot on the line here for Jančík. His next nearest competition in class is Philip Falcon, who is about 6 seconds back, ladies and gentlemen, in P6 overall. Don't get me wrong, Jančík showing has been down 1 position overall, but realistically, he's in P2 overall and started on pole. It's never going to get any better than that, other than leading the race, ladies and gentlemen. And DC there, Sadek Hamak is actually, they've closed in a little bit there. That gap was a little bit higher. They have caught up maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second, but right now, I have to wonder, is Visser going to maybe try and initiate a little bit of a bump draft here and try and push Jančík all the way up towards P1?
Yeah, or pull him if he can get the move done here. Jančík changing his line a couple of times on the way into the corner there, but I don't think he moved enough to really warrant a slap on the wrist. We'll see what Visser can do here. Gets a better exit, but he knows as well as anyone, making a move here at the penultimate corner is often not the best way to get it done. Nail the exit out of the final corner, hope that the guy ahead of you dips a wheel into the gravel, and then pick the slipstream. Try and get ahead on your way into turn 1. Unfortunately, a bit too far behind on this occasion, and Jančík will duly keep his way in second place for the time being, but there's plenty of opportunities to get your rival offline through the twisties here at Winton.
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder as well, does Visser think he has the pace to try and catch up there to Hamak? But don't get me wrong, Jančík's not going to let him go by. Certainly not without a fight, ladies and gentlemen. And then that gap is forever closing. Not the gap to Hamak, but indeed the gap to the end of the race and indeed the end of the season here for the Almeida Racing League. It's been an absolutely belt of a season there as Visser looks about putting the nose up. Not quite able to get close enough, but indeed I have to wonder, is the mind punch strategy going to be engaged? Is he going to try and shake Jančík up and out of P2?
Well, Jančík was scrambling over the curb there through the left-hander. That sort of sent him a little offline. But Visser unable to take advantage. Once again, Jančík moving to the inside and then protecting the position through the third last corner. Again, though, it's a better exit from Visser, and he's going to have to keep his foot in it and draw alongside into the second last corner. Will it be an outside move for the man who started on pole for race 1? It looks like it will be. Incredible pace from Visser around the outside here, and Jančík gives him enough room to get it done. Fantastic move for second from Martin Visser.
Yeah, that was a good clean pass. I'm impressed that came off real clean. And you can see there, Visser trying to keep Jančík pinned and then change to move to a wider line right at the end. They actually teach that in the academy, ladies and gentlemen. That is one of the lessons I've had the pleasure of seeing. And indeed, it worked out beautifully there for the driver of the 137. But now Jeremy Childers about a second behind. Can he get into the mix here? As Jančík now, he's got the toe. Will it be enough to keep him away from, indeed, the number 7 of Jeremy Childers? But further back, though, Kevin Adrian now on the pursuit of Javier Sobrino.
Yes, Kevin Adrian having a bit of a rocky race. Javier Sobrino, meanwhile, has been quite lucky in this one. Of course, skill is a major factor of it. He, it's one thing to make your way through a wreck unscathed and gain a couple of freebies, but you need to be able to have your eyes on stalks, so to speak, and keep your eye out for what's going on around you. There's a lot of skill, a lot of practice, a lot of patience in that. And Javier Sobrino applied that perfectly to gain his 4 positions up.
Well, I'm getting a notification here for Zdenek Hammock, ladies and gentlemen. I have to say exactly what's gone on here. Try that again.
This is a corner where he's had issues before, and he's done it again. He's run a little bit deep through the first part of the double apex left. And you end up losing a bit of time out of that. The gap is now 1.5 seconds as the white flag flies for the final time for Season 5. Jančík, impressively, still managing to keep himself within a shooting distance of Martin Visser. Zdenek Hammock is, that's a bit wide there for Jančík. He runs super wide, and Jeremy Childers will move through there, snuck through on the inside. And that's Jančík off the overall podium, but still leading the club class, which is quite impressive, has to be said. It looks like that's going to space things out for the top 3, unless Hammock makes an error.
Well, look at the closing speed there from Jančík. I had a feeling that Jeremy Childers was indeed going to get a little bit of a love tap there. Fair play, he managed to hold on. But for how long? We are in the closing stages of this race, of this championship, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, Zdenek Hammock is getting ready to go and secure that win. His biggest competition right behind him. All Visser can do at this point is watch. Unless Hammock makes a mistake in the final stages of this race, he is indeed going to get another win and potentially beat him in the championship. But right now, Jančík, though, still applying all of the pressure. Time is running out.
Yes, indeed it is. Is there anything else that he can do? Not quite. That's the last opportunity. So the final winner of the season is going to be Zdenek Hammock, who crosses the line here for the final time. And Martin Visser finishes a strong second. Childers on the podium. Jančík 4th. And Barrett Brummett in 5th. It doesn't look like there's much battling to be had here for the minor positions in the top 10, as Adrian, Sayu and Fakanya will cross the line. But there's still going. Rich Meesters is back out on track there. Good to see. He will see the checkered flag and finish P13 overall. Stephen Saunders and Neil England still pretty close together. And the battle for the Scrapyard Cup, I think is what you said, Zippy. They will finish that rather close. And it looks like Saunders will be classed ahead of England at the end. Those are all of your finishes, and that is the end of the season, Zippy.
Oh, I gotta say, what an absolute battle. And certainly Steve Saunders and Neil England are having their own little scrapyard challenge. It was actually a little bit of good fun. You know what? Best thing about racing is, don't get it wrong, if it goes wrong and then you still have somebody to race against, fantastic stuff, albeit a little bit of a different concept. But let's take a look here for the results from the final race of this season.
So Zdenek Hammock will stand atop the rostrum there with Martin Visser and Jeremy Childers joining him on the podium. Jančík wins the club class again and finishes 4th overall. Put in a great effort to try and keep everyone behind him, with Barrett Brummett finishing in 5th ahead of Philip Falcon. Javier Sobrino, Kevin Adrian, Domenico Sayu and Carlos Fakanya will round out your top 10.
Let's have a look there. P11 with Steve Saunders, with Neil England there in 12th. Rich Meesters definitely had a little bit of an interesting race. He was there. The Cool Camel, a little bit cool further back in 13th. With Zoltan Somator and Mark Schmoeder rounding out 14th and 15th. James Conrad not starting that final race. But ladies and gentlemen, that is indeed the close of the season. As we say that, we've got a couple of drivers here. And indeed, your race winner from the final race, Zdenek Hammock. I understand you've been able to catch up with Reese Gardner.
Indeed.
Hello.
Here we are. Hey, Zdenek, good to have you back in the booth and managing to grab the win in the final race of the season. You had incredible pace here today. It seemed like turn 5, though, caused you a few issues along the way.
Yeah, I have good pace. I not expect that. It's not my favorite track, and it was crazy. And I find it today. I don't know exactly how. and I have lucky to fighting that I have few fights and I waiting. Yeah, the turn 5 was terrible. Yeah, but it's mostly first out in turn 5. I think was because I don't expect that car in front of me brake a little bit early, so I go wider and it was too much. And in the last race, yeah, I think it's focus just because I try to managing my pace. And I don't brake, or I think that I'm braking but not, and I go wide and I'm afraid that I will lose my position. So yeah, but I made it. Good.
Yeah, certainly you did make it in the end, and I guess there's a little element of national pride here as well, because I only just really realized in race 2, Jan and yourself bringing home a 1-2 for the Czech Republic, so I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah, I don't. It's same country, so I don't attack too much, and I would like to be cleaner, maybe a little bit more than someone else. But yeah, it's great. And they have also
Excellent.
good speed, great speed here.
Yeah, indeed. There was great speed from a lot of drivers here today, but at the end, you are the one who wins the final race, Denik. So congratulations, and hopefully we'll be seeing you a lot more again next season.
Yeah, thank you at the first, and yeah, I'm enjoying these seasons, and I hope I join again in the next season. So we will see each other yeah. Sorry.
Indeed we will. Indeed we will. That's Zdenek Hamak there, the winner of the final race. And Zippy, I understand you've had a chance to catch up again with Jan Jančík.
Well, I gotta say, not only did we get you in the interview booth once earlier, but we get you in for a second time, able to win the club class and indeed started on pole. Don't get me wrong, you set yourself up very well for this, but certainly, Jan, what a huge improvement, I want to say, and I want to give the Academy a good portion of credit for that, and indeed, you've definitely put some work in, but tell us a little bit on the Academy side, how that's helped you become a faster driver.
Hello. Well, as I said last time I was in the booth, before last week or something, I don't know. I don't really give the Academy that much time these days, but definitely the consistency in my driving, controlling the car and battling for position has improved quite drastically in the last 6 months, 7 months. I'm much more confident battling with people, even though I don't practice battling beforehand, and just having fun, you know. Short prep usually is just enough for me because too long prep just isn't for me.
Well, certainly, indeed, it's been a challenging season. But Jan, we've got to ask yourself, are you going to be here for the next season? We're certainly looking forward to it. We know what it is, but we're not allowed to tell you. So indeed, you're going to be waiting until next week to find out. But certainly, whatever the Academy may line up, can we look forward to seeing you here back in a broadcast? Should you be able to make it on there and indeed continue with the Academy and continue to have absolutely fantastic success here, able to secure not 1, but 2 club class podiums today?
Well, I'm not sure about next season. I don't know what's happening next season, but anyway, I plan to take a break over the winter now, and next year I plan to run a different league, probably with the guys I ran before, 2 years back. I want to see how I stack up against them when I improved so much now.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Jan Jančík there. He's done the material, and indeed he has made a huge improvement, ladies and gentlemen. So much so, he's going to go and see if he can absolutely obliterate some former competition. I definitely get that. But Jan, congratulations, and indeed, hope to see you sometime soon in the future on a Pit Road Productions broadcast, or indeed on Swellier Almeida's channel again.
Thank you, and thanks for the broadcast. It's been fantastic listening to it. See you.
Brilliant stuff from Jan Jančík today. And, well, if this is indeed the last time we see him, he certainly went out on a high. So congratulations once more. That looks like it's going to be that, Zippy. Man, what a season. And the Spec Racer Ford, I think, has been one of the most inspired car choices that this league could have possibly made. It produced fantastic racing, and it really brought some drivers to the fore that we hadn't seen in previous seasons.
Oh, absolutely, Reese. Myself, I've been an advocate for the Spec Racer Ford for a good number of years, and every time, you'll get the resistance of, oh, no, I don't want to drive that, it's slow. Then all of a sudden, you put a good amount of drivers in there, and the race battles you get are absolutely insane. The biggest thing I find about it is if you're a little bit earlier in your iRacing career, a little bit of education, not quite got too far into the academy yet, it will let you run. And you will get better. It offers a good platform. Like if you think of something like an LMPH car, to push that to the limit, you've got to go a lot faster, and it's a lot more difficult. The Spec Racer Ford offers that happy compromise between, ladies and gentlemen. And then if you are one of the faster drivers, well, you don't get let off scot-free because the draft in these is absolutely insane. So you will always have someone to battle with 99% of the time. It's been an absolutely incredible season, Reese. I'm looking forward to next season. And again, a huge thank you to all the students, ladies and gentlemen, who made such fantastic entertainment here on Pit Road Productions. Thank you to the coaches, the staff at the Almeida Racing Academy, and indeed to yourselves at home. We could not do this without all of you, and we're very proud to have you here on Pit Road Productions. Again, a huge thank you to my comrade here, Mr. Reese Gardner.
Indeed. Thanks very much to you too, Zippy, for being here pretty much the whole time this season. I did have to step out for a couple of rounds, but it's been fantastic to bring this league to the world once again. And of course, if you want to join these drivers, if you want to get better at your sim racing, if you want to try and make a little springboard from sim racing into the real world, much like Connor Bell and Suelio Almeida have managed to do, join up with the Almeida Racing Academy. They have some great offers on with some fantastic learning content for you to consume, absorb, and help you get better at iRacing. You'll learn new techniques. You'll master the techniques you already know. It will certainly be a great investment of your time, as these students have all proved over the last few months. But from all of us here at Pit Road Productions, we want to thank you all once again for watching, and we hope to see you all again next season. Keep an eye out in the next week or so for some announcements regarding next season, which will, of course, be here live on Pit Road Productions. I'm Reese Gardner, Daniel Zippy Salmon alongside me in the comms box, and producing behind the scenes. From all of us here, it is bye for now, but not forever. See you next season.
Now he's here teaching all his secrets to all these drivers. This is Almeida Racing Academy,
where every champion has a starting line.
The sim racer turned real world superstar, Suelio Almeida.
It's Connor Bell racing in his own backyard for the very first time in the NASCAR Canada Series.
The workshops helped out so much. Something about battling with somebody faster than you, it just pushes you that little bit further, and I was able to just keep developing my skill.
I can kind of commit more with the exit there. That was good. If you do take sim racing seriously, it does impact your racing technique for the rest of your life.
I know how the car is going to perform around these corners because the model I have in the sim. Just the benefit of sim racing when you go into real life, I don't think people quite realize it yet.
You have infinite track time is the biggest factor. You are able to try so many things, and the physics that are simulated in the sim nowadays, especially iRacing, are so close to real life.
Creating champions.
Suelio Almeida is a master at his craft. He's outclassed a Le Mans driver, a European Le Mans Series racer.
These guys are among the top 0.02% in the world.
Designed to create champions.
First NASCAR Canada start. First NASCAR victory for Connor Bell.
Connor Bell standing on the podium here today.
This is the Almeida Racing Academy 3.0.
Wait a race, buddy. Wait a race.